Chapter 1. The Clause That Changed Everything. The boardroom on the 27th floor of Hale Investments was a cathedral of glass and steel, its long mahogany table reflecting the Chicago skyline like a mirror. The air was thick with tension, the kind that comes when billions are on the line. Jackson Hale, the silver-haired CEO, sat at the head, his pen hovering over a merger contract with Vaughn Global. Across from him, Derek Vaughn, a Texan businessman with a grin too polished to trust, leaned back in his chair. Clara Hale, Jackson's wife and the company's strategic advisor, sat to his right, her eyes sharp and unreadable. The room buzzed with young executives, their tablets glowing, their whispers barely audible. Then the glass door swung open. Maya Williams, 16 years old, stood in the doorway, her borrowed sneakers squeaking faintly on the polished floor. Her janitor's badge hung crookily on a faded hoodie, every head turned. Her voice cut through the silence like a blade. "That clause," she said, pointing at the contract. "It flips the liability. If you sign that, sir, your company takes the fall." The room went dead quiet. Maya's words hung in the air like a hammer suspended, waiting to drop. Jackson's pen froze mid-air, his silver brows furrowing. Clara blinked sharply. Derek let out a low, awkward chuckle. "Excuse me?" Derek asked, his voice too calm, too measured. "I read that clause on page 14, Maya continued, unfazed. "It shifts all merger-related liabilities to Hale Investments. Fraud, lawsuits, defaults, your company takes the full hit. Vaughn Global walks away clean." The young executives exchanged uneasy glances. One pulled the contract closer, another tapped a tablet to double-check page 14. Clara leaned forward, her voice icy. "She shouldn't even be here. She's the janitor's daughter." Someone murmured agreement, but Maya didn't flinch. 8 hours earlier, the world had been simpler. Maya worked alongside her mother, Denise, on the night cleaning crew. They moved through Hale Investments' upper floors like quiet clockwork sorting. Shredded files, wiping glass doors, vacuuming hallways. No noise, no questions, just finish and leave. That was the routine. Until Maya saw the folder dot. It was left in the copier tray, slightly open, its cover stamped final draft, merger agreement. Something about it called to her not curiosity, but instinct. Maya wasn't like other kids her age. She didn't scroll endlessly on her phone. She read policy manuals, watched business documentaries with her grandfather, and once wrote a school essay titled How Enron Collapsed. She opened the folder slowly, eyes scanning the legalese. Then she paused. Paragraph C, line 3 of the liability clause. It was subtle, but it was there. A reversal of responsibility. If the deal collapsed or legal issues surfaced, Hale Investments, not Vaughn Global, would absorb the ruin. "Mom," Maya said, rushing down the hallway, "you ever seen a contract that hands over the whole company like this?" Denise barely looked up from polishing a glass wall. "Maya, stop it. Don't mess with their stuff." "But what if, no, you want us both out of a job?" Maya shut her mouth, but her mind didn't. It kept racing. Now in the boardroom, Clara's hand tensed around the armrest. Derek's gaze narrowed. Jackson stared at Maya, his pen lowering slowly. "You say this clause flips liability?" he asked, voice calm. Too calm. "Yes, sir," Maya replied. "It's disguised in plain text, legal sounding, but if your team didn't read every line, it's meant to confuse. It doesn't protect your company, it sets you up to take the fall." Clara's voice cracked like frost. "Jackson, this is nonsense." "She's a child." But Jackson wasn't listening to his wife. His eyes shifted to page 14. He scanned, paused, and something in his jaw tightened. Derek leaned forward. We really giving weight to conspiracy theories from someone who polishes door handles?" Maya's cheeks flushed, but her voice didn't waver. "You can laugh, but if he signs that, your company's name is on every lawsuit that follows." A long pause. Then Jackson's voice, low and decisive. "Escort her out." Security moved swiftly. Maya stood tall, even as they led her toward the door. Just before it shut, she looked back and met Jackson's eyes. For the briefest moment, he didn't see a janitor's daughter. He saw a warning, a mirror, a mistake he'd almost made. His pen never touched the paper. Chapter 2. The silence after, the next morning. The silence at Hale Investments was different, not calm, but tight. Unspoken. Something had shifted. Maya sat alone in the lobby security office, hands folded, chin high, heart pounding. The building's marble floors reflected cold light from tall windows. She'd been there over an hour. No one spoke to her, offered water, or told her what would happen next. Her mother, Denise, sat beside her, shoulders stiff, face unreadable. They'd been pulled off the night shift and asked to wait downstairs. The worry in Denise's eyes said it all. "I'm sorry, Mom," Maya whispered. Denise turned her head. Slowly, "You should be," she said flatly. "I clean this building to keep food on the table, not so you can march into boardrooms like you own the place." Maya looked down. "I didn't mean to embarrass you. I read something dangerous and I couldn't let him sign it." "I raised you to be brave, Maya," Denise said softly. "But I didn't raise you to be reckless." Before Maya could respond, the door opened. A stern woman from HR walked in, heels tapping sharply against the tile. "Mrs. Williams," she said, not looking at Maya. "You've been placed on leave pending review. We'll call you." Denise's lips tightened. She stood, clutching Maya's arm. "Come on." As the cold Chicago air hit Maya's cheeks, she glanced back at the tower of glass and steel, the place she thought she could make a difference in. Now she wasn't even allowed inside. Meanwhile, 30 floors above, Jackson sat alone in his private office. The unsigned contract lay before him, pages spread like a crime scene. His finger traced the clause Maya had pointed out, subparagraph C, line 3. She'd been right. The language wasn't just misleading. It was deliberate, designed to appear standard while setting up Hale Investments to absorb full liability. He rubbed his temple slowly. How the hell did I miss this? Clara's voice echoed from the night before. "It's a standard clause, Jackson. Just trust me. Trust. That word used to mean something." He opened his laptop, cross-referencing other contracts. With Vaughn Global. Legal language, subsidiary names, offshore structures. All too clean, too coordinated. His phone buzzed. "Clara." He hesitated, then answered. "You didn't sign it, did you?" She said immediately. "No," Jackson replied. Voice flat. "You're overthinking it. We vetted Derek's firm. You're letting that girl get in your head." He paused. "She saw what none of us did." Clara laughed softly, too soft. "Come on, she's a teenager." "The janitor's daughter." "You're really going to question me over a child?" Jackson didn't reply. "I'm coming up," Clara said, and ended the call. Down the block, Maya sat on the couch at home, a mug of cocoa growing cold in her hands. The apartment was small, warm, lived in. Her mother sat across from her, clicking through job listings. "Do you regret it?" Maya asked quietly. Denise sighed. "I regret that you lost faith in grown-ups doing their jobs." Maya didn't argue. But something told her she hadn't been wrong. A ping interrupted the quiet, an email from a name she didn't know, Robert Barnes. Subject, "You saw it too." Maya's eyes widened. She clicked. The message was short. "I used to work there. I know what you saw. If you're willing to talk, I'll listen." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then she began to type. Maybe she wasn't alone. Chapter 3. Cracks in the foundation. Jackson opened his safe and pulled out an old file. Hale Internal. Barnes Review. He flipped through pages of flagged risks, buried audits, reports his board had ignored 2 years ago. On one sheet, in red pen, risk exposure too centralized. If they plant one signature trap, we're done. Signed, Robert Barnes. Jackson leaned back, eyes closing. For the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. Clara Hale never liked to wait. She walked into Jackson's office, heels tapping sharply against the oak floors. "It's still sitting there," she said, folding her arms. "You've had a day." Jackson didn't look up. "And I'll need more." Clara's smile faded. "Jackson, this deal is time-sensitive. Derek is offering terms no one else would touch. You saw the numbers. I also saw a liability clause that nearly gutted my company." Clara trailed. A manicured nail along the contract's edge. One clause. Legal language. You know how these things work. "Don't tell me you're giving weight to the janitor's daughter over me." That made him look up slowly. "She saw it," he said. "No one else did. Not you, not the legal team, not even me." Clara's expression didn't flinch, but her tone dropped. "She's a child, Jackson. And she just got you to question everything. That should concern you." "No," he said, standing. "What concerns me is that she was right." Chapter 7. The courtroom 12B was heavy with anticipation. Jackson adjusted his tie. Victoria reviewed her notes. Maya sat 2 rows behind, hair braided, eyes sharp. Derek Vaughn sat across the aisle, calm as ever. Clara, in slate gray, was unreadable. Victoria opened with precision, exposing shell companies and forged authorizations. Then she called Maya to the stand. Gasps fluttered. Reporters scribbled. Maya swore in, sat down, and spoke steadily. "I was helping my mom on the 27th floor," she said. "I saw the contract in the copy room. The signature didn't look right. When I read the fine print, it didn't sound right either." That evening, Maya sat huddled near the radiator in their apartment, flipping through encrypted PDF files from Barnes. Tax statements, shell company breakdowns, merger language comparisons. She didn't understand all of it, but she understood. Enough. They were building a trap. Barnes had confirmed it on their call. Derek Vaughn had used nearly identical language in a Houston merger. The target company took full liability, collapsed under legal fees within 6 months, and Vaughn walked away richer. Maya highlighted key words: indemnification, contingent liability, burden of performance. She didn't know every term, but she knew something rotten when she smelled it. "I can't believe he's married to that woman," Maya muttered. Her mom, washing dishes, let out a humorless snort. "Power marries ambition. It's always been that way." At the same time, Jackson sat at the bar in a private lounge overlooking Chicago. He wasn't drinking, he was watching. At a far table, half shielded by frosted glass, sat Clara. Across from her, Derek Vaughn. They were laughing. Clara's hand rested lightly on Derek's wrist. His grin was wide, easy, like old friends or something more. Jackson's jaw tensed. He couldn't hear the words, but the body language told him enough. Clara leaned in. Derek nodded, then handed her a small flash drive, brushing her fingers in a gesture that wasn't professional. Jackson turned away, bile rising in his throat. Was this the woman I built a life with? Back at home, Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Barnes. Look into Clara's spending habits. 3 offshore transfers in her name: Cayman, BVI, Zurich, Maya's. Eyes widened. "She's in on it," she whispered. "She's not just clueless, she's involved." She pulled up public transaction records, hands trembling. There it was, Clara Hale's name, tied to a dormant trust account in the British Virgin Islands. At that moment, Jackson opened an email from his bank's compliance team. Subject: suspicious access activity. Clara had attempted to authorize a $2.5 million transfer from a dormant reserve account. It was stopped just in time. Jackson sank into his chair. The noose wasn't just tightening, it was inside his own home. Chapter 4. The Unraveling 3. People couldn't sleep that night. Jackson, certain he was standing on a crumbling foundation. Maya, gripping a puzzle too big for a 16-year-old. Clara, seated beside Derek in a black SUV, whispering, "He's starting to dig." Derek replied calmly, "Then we bury him before he reaches the roots." It started with an email, no subject, no sender, just an audio file. Jackson hesitated, then clicked play. Clara's voice came first, calm and calculating. "He won't question it, not if I push at the right time." Then Derek's deep drawl, "And if he does, we remind him what he has to lose." Jackson froze. He replayed it 3 times. When it sank in, something cracked, not loud, not visible, but final. He forwarded the file to his private attorney, then stared at the ceiling with clarity. Clara wasn't just involved, she was leading it. Maya stood outside the Harold Washington Library, clutching a folder and a flash drive from Barnes. Her fingers were numb, not from the cold, but from fear. The files pointed in one direction. Someone was trying to bury Hale Investments. She stepped inside, typed the encryption key, and the truth unfolded. 3 merger attempts, 3 ruined. Companies, all tied to Derek Vaughn. And in the background, Clara Hale's digital approval credentials. She'd been doing this for years. That evening, Maya went to deliver documents to Barnes' apartment. The door was ajar. Inside, empty. No signs of struggle, no sign of Barnes. Just an envelope labeled MW. Inside, a thumb drive and a note. "They know I'm helping you. Don't come back here. Find someone you trust." Soon. Jackson sat in his car outside an old courthouse, meeting Victoria Chan, a civil rights attorney known for taking untouchable cases. She slid into the passenger seat, her black wool coat flapping like a cloak of quiet justice. "Mr. Hale," she said, "you came to the right person, but this is bigger than contract fraud." "I know," Jackson said. "I need to protect my company and a girl who saw it first." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "A girl? She's 16, Maya Williams." She caught it before any of us. For the first time, the lawyer smiled. "Then she may be our most valuable witness." Chapter 5. The war begins the next morning. Maya returned to Hale Tower. Security was tighter, but a junior staffer recognized her from late-night shifts. "Mr. Hale said if you ever came back, I should take you straight up." When Jackson saw her, something in him softened. He extended a hand, not like a CEO, but like a man seeing his blind spots. "I owe you more than an apology," he said. "I owe you the truth." Maya's voice was quiet but firm. "Then let's get it out before someone else disappears." They sat in his private conference room, papers and screens spread like a battlefield. Victoria joined, nodding at Maya. "This is your war now," she said. "But with the right moves, we win it before they know we're fighting." Maya nodded, nerves taut but steady. The cracks in the marble weren't just breaking a building, they were letting the truth through. The war had begun. Jackson's office walls were no longer lined with corporate awards, but with whiteboards scribbled with timelines, bank transfers, and alias names. Maya sat at the center, a borrowed laptop open, a folder of secrets beside her. Victoria stood by the window, phone to her ear, voice low. "They're watching Vaughn quietly, but they need more to move forward." Maya slid over a yellow file. "This just came in from Barnes. Before he disappeared." Jackson opened it. "Offshore account ledgers. 3 names, Clara Hale, Derek Vaughn. Raven Cross Holdings, a shell corporation in Belize funneling payments from failed merger settlements." Victoria whistled. "This is more than fraud. This is a long game, predatory, calculated." "And it started right under my roof," Jackson said bitterly. That night, Maya and her mother sat on their apartment's fire escape, the city buzzing below. Denise handed Maya chamomile tea, her hands trembling. "They called again. Said if I don't keep quiet, they'll cancel your school record, make things disappear." Maya stared ahead. "They already tried." "You're a child, Maya. This isn't your fight. It became mine the second they used people like us as their cover. Denise saw something in her daughter, not defiance, but purpose. Chapter 6. The gala. Jackson entered the Hale Foundation gala in a black tuxedo, his expression tight. The gala was Clara's domain charity, media, smiling donors. Tonight, he took the mic. Before we begin, he said, eyes sweeping the glittering crowd, I want to speak not as a CEO, but as a man who's made mistakes. Years ago, I believed building an empire meant trusting only the numbers. But numbers don't betray you, people do. Clara froze beside the champagne table, her fingers tightening around her glass. I've reopened every document our board has signed, Jackson continued. What I found, what one brave young woman found, has shaken me to my core. Victoria stood at the back, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Jackson stepped down before questions could come. That night, Maya sat by her bedroom window, a folder open on her lap. One email from Clara to Derek stood out. He's starting to pull away. You know what to do. Her laptop screen went black. Her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. Stop digging, or we dig first. Maya's hands shook, but she picked up a Sharpie and wrote 3 words. Not backing down. Victoria nodded. What stood out? A clause buried deep. It transferred all liability from Vaughn's firm to Mr. Hale's company. If something went wrong, only one side would take the hit. Why speak up? You were 16. No one asked you to read it. Maya looked at Clara, then Derek, then the jury. Just because I clean your floors doesn't mean I don't see the dirt. The courtroom froze. Clara's hand twitched. Derek didn't smile. Cross-examination came hard. Vaughn's attorney tried to rattle her. Did you understand all the legal terminology? No, sir, Maya said. But I understood enough to know someone was hiding something. You consider yourself an expert in business law? No, but you don't need a degree to see when someone's being set up to fail. The jury watched her with new eyes, not just a girl, but the voice of every overlooked worker. Jackson took the stand. Victoria asked, what made you believe her? My gut said she was right, he said. But more than that, I remembered something I'd forgotten. Integrity doesn't depend on status. Sometimes the janitor's daughter sees the cracks before the board does. Then Clara testified. The audio file played. If he does question it, we remind him what he has to lose. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I thought if I could push the deal through, Jackson wouldn't have to know. And when Maya exposed it? Victoria asked. I wanted her gone, Clara said, voice hollow, because she saw everything I'd worked to keep hidden. Chapter 8. The verdict. The jury filed in, faces solemn. Maya gripped her skirt. Jackson stood behind, hands clasped. Derek smirked faintly. Clara stared at the floor. The forewoman stood. On the count of conspiracy to commit corporate fraud, we find the defendants guilty. On the count of falsifying financial documents, guilty. On the count of obstruction and tampering with legal contracts, guilty. Each word struck like a gavel. Derek's smirk vanished. Clara closed her eyes. The judge issued the sentence. 10 years in federal prison for both. No parole for the first 7. Outside, reporters shouted. Maya answered one question. What do you want people to remember? She looked at the camera. That truth doesn't depend on your title, and justice doesn't care how clean your shoes are. Chapter 9. A new foundation. Hale Investments didn't collapse, it reformed. Jackson initiated a full restructuring. Clara's name was erased from board records. Vaughn's assets were frozen. Victoria became chief ethics counsel. At a press conference, Jackson announced the Maya Williams Fellowship for Young Minds with vision and courage. Maya didn't just protect this company, he said. She reminded us who we're supposed to be. Applause rose like thunder. Maya stood beside him, a faint smile on her lips. Later, in his office, Maya handed Jackson a manila envelope. "I got my Columbia acceptance letter," she said, eyes shining. He smiled. "You've got a seat at any table you want now." "Do you regret any of it?" she asked. "I regret I didn't see it coming," he said softly. "But I don't regret who stood up when I couldn't." Clara was processed into a Wisconsin federal detention center. She made no statement, only silence. In her cell, she replayed Maya's words. "Just because I clean your floors doesn't mean I don't see the dirt dot in Jackson's office." He placed Maya's envelope on a shelf beside a plaque. "Truth isn't loud, but it lasts." The empire hadn't fallen. It had been rebuilt cleaner, stronger, unshakably honest by the one they never saw.